Professor Aaron Michael Okoye. Ghana Police Band, excellent as usual. Thank you very much for that. Good afternoon, the Right Honorable Speaker of the 7th Parliament, members of the Parliamentary Service Board, the Majority Leader, the Minority Leader, the Clerk to Parliament, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of Parliament, members of staff, and all distinguished invited guests, as well as members of the media. I think I speak for the Speaker and everybody here when I say that today is indeed a very special day, and we all are very proud of the achievements that we've chalked in such a short time. Indeed, when the Speaker spoke about fiscal enhancement structures, we used to say certain things behind his back, because he would say things like the enclave of Parliament needs to be protected, and we didn't realize just how serious it was until we started seeing the fruits of what he was talking about and the beautiful dreams that he had for the 7th Parliament of the 4th Republic. And for that, we are very grateful. My name is Kate Addo, and I'm standing in for our distinguished MC, the Minister for Information, the Honorable Kojo Ponkrumah, who will be joining us shortly. He's actually in the building at the chamber and is on his way here. And so with a round of applause, let's welcome Honorable Seth Echampong, who will give us an opening prayer for this afternoon's program. The Honorable Seth Echampong, Seth Kwame Echampong, to give us an opening prayer.
Right Honorable Speaker, the leadership of Parliament, the Parliamentary Service Board, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, honorable members of Parliament, shall we pray? I indulge you to rise up for us for a short opening prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for such an auspicious moment. Lord, it is thee who created all of us. Your spirit holds the crest of this earth. You told us in your word in Isaiah 58:16 that you are laying a special stone, a foundation stone. In this dispensation of democracy, the People's Forum is Parliament. You are offering us a board for members elected to represent citizens of this land to have a place to read, to scrutinize, and to work for the Republic. This function is being done to continue the business of government. And we thank and invite you to come and become the head and the chairperson to ensure that everything we do here today goes on successfully. This is our humble plea. We ask through Christ our Lord. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. You may sit, please.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Seth Kwame Echampong, Vice Chairperson of the Parliamentary Christian Fellowship. The Ghana Police Band has been a very close friend of Ghana's Parliament in the 4th Republic. They have helped us in all our activities, and they are here this afternoon to be with us and to join in our celebration of our achievement. They will give us a couple of medleys as we wait for the arrival of our guest of honor. The police band will give us a few medleys while we wait. That was the Ghana Police Band. Next to give us some music is our very own choir, the Voices of Democracy. Round of applause, please, for the Voices of Democracy.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, when the President arrives, we will all be up and standing as he's led by protocol to the dais where we would remain standing for the national salute before we resume our seats. Shall we please be up and standing as we receive His Excellency, the President of the Republic. And we shall remain standing when the President takes his position for the national salute. The President of the Republic, the Speaker of Parliament, the leadership of Parliament, members and staff of Parliament, we are gathered this afternoon for the inauguration of office facilities under the Fiscal Infrastructure Enhancement Project of Parliament, known as Job 600 Annex. May I invite the Clerk to Parliament, Mrs. Cyril Kwabena Osunsia, to formally welcome the President and all here gathered.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Majority Leader, Honorable Minority Leader, the Honorable First Deputy Speaker, Honorable Members of the Leadership of Parliament, Honorable Ministers of State, Honorable Members of Parliament, distinguished members of the Diplomatic Corps, directors and staff of the Parliamentary Service, distinguished invited guests, our friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. I have the pleasure this afternoon to warmly welcome you all to the inauguration of the Fiscal Infrastructure Enhancement Project in Parliament House. As many of us will recall, Parliament on 6th November 2015 inaugurated the refurbished Job 600 building to provide office space and other facilities, including banking, catering, and healthcare facilities to support the work of the members of Parliament. Owing to the organic growth of the parliamentary institution and the numerical strength of the membership from the initial 200 in 1993 to 230 in 2005 and 275 in 2013, it became immediately apparent that the office spaces provided in the architectural design of the main Job 600 building could only accommodate 252 members of Parliament, leaving 23 honorable members without offices. In order to address this shortfall, the Parliamentary Service Board of the 6th Parliament conceived the Fiscal Infrastructure Enhancement Project to provide office space to the remaining members of parliament, as well as respond to the additional infrastructure requirements of the parliamentary service. The Fiscal Infrastructural Enhancement Project, being inaugurated today by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, comprises the offices for the remaining 23 honorable members of parliament who could not be accommodated in the main Job 600 building, some conference facilities for public hearings by committees of parliament, chamber support service offices, a visitors waiting center, and a drivers waiting center. Today, we are thankful to the current Parliamentary Service Board, who, under the able leadership of the Right Honorable Speaker, Professor Aaron Michael Okwe, together with the avid support of its members, the Honorable Majority Leader, Mr. Osei Mensah Bonso, the Honorable Minority Leader, Mr. Harry Naidrusu, the Honorable Hackman Owusu Ajiman, and the Honorable Deputy Minister for Finance, Mrs. Abnao Sayasari, worked assiduously to ensure the speedy completion of the project. We are also grateful to Mr. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo for the demonstration of commitment to bridging the infrastructural gaps in the legislature, but by ensuring that all funding requirements for the completion of the project were timeously provided. Mr. President, we are pleased that the completion of the project at this auspicious time provides Parliament with ample room to better manage its visitors and ensure social distancing in the midst of the current pandemic, and to provide a more secure working environment for honorable members of parliament and staff of the parliamentary service whenever they are within the precincts of parliament. Let me acknowledge with a very professional contribution made by the consultants, Messrs. ADK Consortium, and its executive chairman, Engineer Michael Kriku, as well as the contractors, China State Hualong Construction Company Limited, and all others who have played varying roles for their untiring efforts to see to the successful completion of the project. Before I conclude, permit me to acknowledge the efforts made by some key personalities behind the scenes. I express our appreciation to the chairperson of the Entity Tender Committee, Honorable Hackman Owusu Ajiman, and the members of the committee, including Honorable Kwesi Ameya-Ochreme, Honorable Mohammed Mubarak Muntaka, Honorable Kojokum, and Honorable Govins Agboja. I would also like to express special thanks to the Director of Finance of the Parliamentary Service, Mr. Daniel Chirawura, the Deputy Director Legal, Nana Teria Ochre, the Deputy Director Development, Mr. Sefako Kudu, the Principal Procurement Officer, Mr. Mohammed Insia, for their enduring technical support throughout the implementation of the projects. I will take this opportunity to once again welcome all of you to this momentous occasion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Clerk. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to formally introduce and to ask of you to join me with a round of applause to acknowledge from the Parliamentary Service Board, the Honorable Hackman Owusu Ajiman. You've just heard from the Clerk to Parliament, Mr. Cyril Kwabena Oting Insia. Please let's acknowledge him with a round of applause. May I please ask jointly the leadership of Parliament from both sides to rise as we acknowledge them with a round of applause. May I ask you to acknowledge the Minority Leader, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu, the Majority Leader, the Honorable Osei Mensah Bonso. We receive the apologies of the Second Deputy Speaker, who is not with us this afternoon, but let us acknowledge the First Deputy Speaker, the Honorable Joseph Osei Usu, the Speaker of Parliament, the Right Honorable Aaron Michael Okwe. Let's acknowledge him with a round of applause. And the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Let's acknowledge him with a round of applause. To speak on behalf of the consultants and the contractor, please join me. Welcome up to the podium Engineer Mike Kreku, Executive Chairman, ADK Consortium.
Your Excellency, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic of Ghana, the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Professor Aaron Mike Okwe, Leadership of Parliament, Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers here present, the Parliamentary Services Board, Members of Parliament, distinguished invited guests, members of the Press Corps, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to all of you. Almost 5 years ago, the refurbishment of the Job 600 Tower Block was completed to serve as offices for members of parliament and key departments of the parliamentary service. The Tower Block was designed in 2010 with a consideration for 252 offices for members of parliament, who were then 230, thus catering for 22 extra offices for projected future office accommodation needs. The later increment in the number of constituencies in 2012 meant a direct increase in the members of parliament from 230 to 275, raising a shortfall in office accommodation of 23. This situation therefore necessitated the construction of additional offices to address this shortfall in accommodation for the 23 members of parliament and also make provision for any future development. Your Excellency, in proposing a solution as expressed above, ADK Consortium, in consultation with the Development Department of Parliament, carefully planned the project around enhancing the physical infrastructures within the parliamentary enclave, thus the project being dubbed Parliament Infrastructure Enhancement Project, PIEP. This project, which commenced in February 2018, comprised the construction of an extension to the members' block, the Job 600 Annex, refurbishment of the basement to chamber into an administration annex block, construction of a holding facility for visitors to Parliament, as well as a driver's waiting facility and improving the external landscape of the parliamentary enclave. The following facilities have been provided under the scope of PIEP. The Job 600 Annex building. The 7-story office structure with a basement makes provision for 54 offices for members of Parliament, with ancillary office facilities to include 36 offices for research assistants, 9 kitchenettes, 9 washrooms, 2 convenience shops, 1 forex bureau, filing and storage archives at the basement, a 150-seater multi-purpose hall, and 11 offices for supporting staff. The Job 600 Annex block has been constructed with connection to the existing members block, the Job 600, and main administration block. This, together with the speakers block, already linked by connecting bridges, will afford convenient communication and movement across the cluster of buildings in the enclave. The administration annex. The 2-story office facility provides office accommodation for 26 supporting staffs of the various departments of Parliament, with provision for 2 25-seater meeting rooms, 3 kitchenettes, 4 washrooms, 3 storage rooms, and a kitchen to supply the cafeteria to the chamber. The building connects both the main administration and the chamber block on all 3 floors of the individual structures, thus offering an improvement in the day-to-day workflow. The administration annex block has also been refurbished to have a new central security screening, which will provide a primary entry point to the main administration annex, and the debating chamber blocks. A new electrical panel room with new power supply and distribution equipment to serve the chamber, the speakers block, the main and annex administration blocks, and the drivers and visitor centers have also been provided to provide the electrical needs within the parliamentary enclave. The drivers and visitor centers. The 2-number single-story holding facilities for drivers of members of Parliament and visitors to Parliament have the following facilities. The driver center has a seating capacity of 100, whilst the visitor center has a seating capacity of 250 persons. Both facilities have 1 office, a reception area, snack bar, eating area, and washrooms for both males and females. The visitors and drivers holding facilities are located to the east of the main parking area at the forecourt of the State House, adjacent to the Osu Cemetery Wall. These facilities will help greatly to improve security within the parliamentary enclave by controlling the movement of both visitors and drivers. Your Excellency, in addition to these, furniture and furnishings have been provided in all the facilities, to include window blinds, televisions, sound systems, fridges, photocopiers, printers, and scanners. ADK Consortium, accordingly, has great satisfaction in handing over the result of a massive undertaking and an excellent example of professional Ghanaian cooperation involving best practice, experience, commitment, and support. I wish to pay tribute to all concerned and express my appreciation to my team, the contractor China State Hualong Limited, and subcontractors, all of whom have played various roles in seeing to the successful execution of the project. Your Excellency, in concluding, I would respectfully appeal strongly to the leadership of Parliament to maintain a strict regime of maintenance to ensure the preservation of these facilities for now and for all times in the future. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. President, shortly, the Speaker of Parliament will address you, but before then, the leaders of both sides of the House would make some brief remarks, starting first with the Member of Parliament for Tamale South and Minority Leader, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu. Let's receive him with a round of applause.
Your Excellency, President Nana Addo Dankwa, President of the Republic of Ghana, it's refreshing and heartwarming to welcome you to Parliament. This time not to address us on the state of the nation, on the COVID state of the nation, but to join Right Honorable Speaker, Professor Michael Kwe, my colleague, the Majority Leader, do I say Nana Sumpahine, as he may wish to be addressed this afternoon, and the Chairman of Chairmen, the Honorable Hakman Owusu-Agyemang, a proud member of our board, who has remained very supportive of the board with his forte. And then First Deputy Speaker of Parliament and the Clerk of Parliament. The Speaker, on my behalf and on behalf of the Minority Caucus, let me express my heartfelt appreciation for you making time this afternoon to join Parliament, inaugurate additional office facilities under the Fiscal Infrastructure Enhancement Project for Parliament. And Mr. President, as you come, I'm sure you have your own nostalgic sense together with the Honorable Hakman Owusu-Agyemang when in 2005 you were both here and you ran your parliamentary careers from the offices of your cars. At least today, I join you in commending Professor Michael Kwe and his predecessors, as have been said, that this particular facility was initiated in 2010, completed some 5 years ago. But it was the wisdom of Professor Michael Kwe to add additional infrastructure, what he described as additional chamber support services, drivers and visitor centers, additional offices for members of Parliament, and at least the Majority Leader also insists that the business of Parliament be done within Parliament. There is a 150-seater additional facility which can host committees of Parliament. Therefore, I want to commend Professor Michael Kwe for adding this. I've publicly said that notwithstanding sometimes my political differences with him, he has some notable unique values, even on any matter, that he's able to engineer and build consensus with the Majority Leader and Minority Leader agreeing. He has no difficulty with a bit of a heart in implementing that particular decision as head of this organ of it. Mr. President, you come at a time that we sadly lost one of our colleagues, the Honorable Member for Enhancement, Echo Hayford, and you generously, through the Minister for Interior, accepted to elevate and improve the security of members of Parliament. We appreciate the gesture. However, that gesture has been largely misconstrued by the Ghanaian public as if members of Parliament are not deserving of that particular support by any stretch of the interpretation of Article 71 in its meaning of the privileges and facilities like every other office holder under Article 71. Members of Parliament deserve the support. I'd like to commend you again on that. Mr. Speaker, only democracies have parliament, and stronger parliaments make stronger democracies. Responsive and transparent parliaments make our democracy work. I've insisted that the only way our parliament can be stronger is to elevate itself above being a clearinghouse for executive embarrassment, not just this parliament, but all other parliament. Let me conclude by saying that one other matter which remains very dear to the heart of the board and to Professor Michael Quay is for you to support us as you have demonstrated, to have this particular process declared a parliamentary enclave, for us to have a modern infrastructure that befits the purpose of Parliament as a citadel of democracy. I know you've made some commitments, but the commitment would want to see the end of this your tenure. I don't wish to add you another term, so I just say the end of this your tenure that it is done, Mr. President. So if it was done and the parliamentary enclave developed, the better it would be for our democracy. Finally, it's been a matter of discuss with my colleague, the majority leader, that some of this edifice, a country which does not honor its heroes, I'm told is not worth dying for. To my left, I think that this administration block can beautifully be named after the late Peter Alajete, and the Job 600 itself be named after Justice D.F. Annan. I accordingly submit a proposal for us to look at in future, will determine who else deserves what. The two in particular have made monumental contribution to the growth of parliamentary democracy, particularly Justice D.F. Annan, the way he navigated the delicate balance of an infant, nascent, and maturing democracy. Mr. Speaker, be assured that Ghana will pass the mark with you. We all owe it to the Ghanaian people to ensure a peaceful, stable Ghana beyond December 7. I thank you for the opportunity.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, the Majority Leader and Member of Parliament for Swami, the Honorable Osei Chi Mensah Bonsu.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic, the Right Honorable Speaker, a colleague, the Minority Leader, the First Deputy Speaker, colleagues in leadership, the Honorable Members of Parliament, Ministers of State, the Clerk to Parliament, and other officers of Parliament, invited guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Excellency the President, permit me to add my voice in welcoming you and all the dignitaries herein gathered to the commissioning of the office blocks under the Parliamentary Infrastructure Enhancement Project. Having actively been part of the discussions that culminated in the genesis and execution of the project, I can only express my elation and gratification for also being present to witness the commissioning of the office blocks for members of Parliament and staff of the Parliamentary Service. Mr. President, as we are all aware, Parliament plays a very pivotal role in our democracy. It has the power of deliberation, information transmission, financial control, oversight, legislation, ratification of treaties and agreements, and not least, conflict resolution. Since the return of the country to constitutional rule in 1993, the country has made major strides in entrenching democratic governance, albeit with some challenges. Indeed, while all three arms of government, the executive, judiciary, and the legislature, have all had their share of infrastructure development, the legislative arm of government has over the years been comparatively disadvantaged as it continues to be confronted with critical infrastructural needs, particularly the lack of suitable offices for our members of parliament. This situation compelled majority of us, and need I remind you, Mr. President, of your own life before life, to conduct parliamentary business outside the debating chamber and often in our vehicles. Meetings were also held in the lobby of the first floor of the chamber block. Any available floor space was converted into an office space for the staff of parliamentary service. Speaking from experience and given the fact that I have had the privilege of being in parliament since January 1997, I must acknowledge that this situation greatly impeded the effective performance of members of parliament. Mr. President, Right Honorable Speaker, to relieve Parliament of challenges relating to office space, various governments have played diverse roles in ensuring the renovation of the tower block, Job 600, which was originally constructed to serve as the venue for the 1965 meeting of the Organization of African Unity. His Excellency, the former President John Agyekum Kufuor's administration secured a loan in the year 2007 for the renovation of Job 600. His Excellency, the former President, Professor John Evans Atta Mills, and His Excellency, the former President John Dramani Mahama, also played diverse roles in ensuring that the renovation of Job 600 was completed. Indeed, on the 6th of November 2015, His Excellency, the former President John Dramani Mahama, commissioned the renovated Job 600 building to provide offices for members of parliament and staff of service. May I take this opportunity to commend the successive governments and the leadership of the House for the role they variously played to see the completion of the project. The refurbished Job 600 was programmed to provide 252 offices for the members of parliament with adjoining offices for their secretaries, research assistants. It also provided suitable office spaces for various departments of parliamentary service, standing and select committees, a modern library with research and information system divisions, among others. At the time when the project commenced to provide 252 offices, the number of seats in parliament was 230. It grew to 275, and when the project was completed. Out of the 252 offices currently, the minority caucus occupies 106 offices, that is the full complement of their membership, whilst the majority caucus occupies 146 offices. 23 members of parliament do not have offices of their own. The 23 members are all first-time members who entered parliament for the first time in January 2017 and fortunately got appointed as deputy ministers. Mr. President, they couldn't benefit at the two ends, so they had to make a sacrifice in the House. It therefore became imperative for additional offices to be secured for the 23 members of parliament. Against this backdrop and other considerations, leadership of the House and the Parliamentary Service Board, with the support of the current government, secured a loan to construct office blocks under the Parliamentary Infrastructure Enhancement Project for members of parliament and staff of the service. The project, which commenced in February 2018, was scheduled to have been completed in June 2020. Unfortunately, this could not materialize due to the fact that the novel coronavirus, COVID-19, reared its ugly head in the country in March 2020. That notwithstanding, the consultants of the project, the Shares ADK Consortium, and the main contractor, the Shares China State Loan Construction, Ghana Limited, have worked extremely hard amidst the challenges of COVID-19 to see to the completion of the project. The project, as we've been told already, comprises the construction of Job 600 Annex, the Chamber Support Services Block, the Drivers Waiting Center, Visitors Waiting Center, and the renovation of the Speakers Block. Your Excellency, currently, with the exception of the renovation of the Speakers Block, all the external and interior works of the Job 600 Annex, the Chamber Support Services Block, the Drivers and Visitors Waiting Centers, including furnishings, have been duly completed. The Job 600 Annex is a 6-story building with 54 offices for members of parliament, 9 offices on each floor, with ancillary offices for research assistants and offices of the parliamentary service. It has a multi-purpose 150-seater conference hall with a media room, 2 convenience shops, 9 kitchenettes, 9 washrooms, and a space for a forest bureau. The basement of the Job 600 Annex is earmarked to serve as archives. The Chamber Support Services block also has 26 offices for staff of the service, 2 meeting rooms, 3 kitchenettes, 4 washrooms, 3 big storage rooms, an electrical panel room that will serve the chamber, the speakers block, the administration block, the Chamber Support Services block, and the drivers and visitors waiting centers, amongst others. The drivers waiting center is made up of an office, a reception area, a 100-seater area, now reduced to 60-seater area, no thanks to the COVID-19, for drivers, a snack bar, eating area, and washrooms. The visitors waiting center also has an office, a reception area, a 250-seater waiting area, a snack bar, eating area, and washrooms. Indeed, the Parliamentary Standards Committee standards continue to evolve in response to pressures from both within and outside Parliament. If Parliament is to attract the best brains, then it should be provided with the requisite tools to discharge its duties. It is therefore heartwarming to note that all the members of Parliament in the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic would have offices to aid in the discharge of their constitutional mandate. It is only when members of Parliament are adequately resourced to perform their respective roles that our democracy will thrive. Whilst we are this, Mr. President, it is important to express our gratitude to you for your acknowledgement that Parliament is the only arm of government who does not own the presence of its offices. Mr. President, you have shown appreciation of the distress that Parliament finds itself in this regard and have expressed the wish for Parliament to have title to the presence of Parliament since our overexposure at occasions including funerals, weddings, and other social activities could, if you are not careful, be very catastrophic. It is our plea that the President calls us the relevant immediate steps to be taken to bring the matter about ownership to the speediest conclusion. Mr. President, another issue of monumental importance is the matter in respect of the swearing in of presidents-elect. Members of Parliament are united in the principle that an elected president must be sworn in the presence of Parliament, before Parliament, and indeed in Parliament, as the Honorable J.H. Mensah boldly articulated. The Ghanaian electorate always want to be part of and indeed own the process and procedures of the swearing in of our presidents-elect. The space afforded by the small chamber of Parliament makes it difficult to hold the event in the plenary of Parliament, which is why, conveniently, Parliament elects to sit at the Independence Square on such occasions. On that 7th day of January, the election of the Speaker and Deputy Speakers and the swearing in of members of Parliament have to be concluded before Parliament would relocate to the Independence Square to have the President-elect sworn in before the relocated House of Parliament. It is hard to relate that oftentimes, before the sitting is suspended for the House to reconvene at the Independence Square, the public would have generally taken over the sitting of the relocated Parliament. In the event, Parliament, the members are dislodged from what is supposed to be their own house. The members of Parliament, especially those from the party that might have lost the elections, are subjected to vile and vitriolic language in their own house. And Mr. President, sometimes all manner of animals, some of them dressed in party paraphernalia, are paraded in the relocated Parliament. Not surprisingly, most of the members of Parliament who belong to the party that lose out in the presidential and general elections elect not to be part or participate in the proceedings that lead to the swearing in of the president. Mr. President, as you agree with us, that cannot be good practice. It's not good practice, and accordingly, the House has decided that the President-elect must from hence, subject to security considerations, be sworn in the presence of Parliament, before Parliament, and in Parliament. Consequently, Mr. President, the Parliament of Ghana is proposing that the swearing-in of the President-elect should be done in the present presence of Parliament, as happened during the first inauguration of President John Agyekum Kufuor. Mr. President, this is our humble request, and once it meets your agreement, the necessary triggers shall be pulled to get the place ready for the event on January 7th, 2021. Mr. President, while showing huge appreciation for causing the Finance Minister to avail funds for these projects that you are commissioning today, we want to acknowledge the extension of security services to members of Parliament who are the most politically exposed persons, apart from you, Mr. President, and the Vice President, in the country. Mr. President, this 7th Parliament expresses its profound appreciation for what your government has done in 4 years. However, having agreed to provide security officers for the members of Parliament, it becomes naturally necessary to provide a resting place for the service when Parliament is in session. Accordingly, Mr. President, I believe you will not be tired of us. We shall soon confer and consult with you to provide the resources to cater for these necessary additional personnel. Mr. President, it is my hope that the commissioning of this project today will provide us the opportunity to reflect on how we can progress as an institution, and in doing so, it is also important to remind ourselves that the successes we have achieved over the years would not have been possible without the collective efforts of members of Parliament and, in particular, the staff of our parliamentary service. In particular, the services, the sacrifices, and hard work of the leadership of the House. It is my considered opinion that parliamentary democracy in Ghana is on a solid path, and with positive attitude and hard work, we will continue to enjoy more successes. On this note, let me take this opportunity to commend the consultants, Shares ADK once again, and the contractor for a good work done. I also implore the leadership of the House and the Parliamentary Service to put the necessary security and servicing and maintenance measures in place to ensure the longevity of the project. Long live the Parliament of Ghana, long live Ghana. Mr. President and Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much for the opportunity accorded me.
Leader, we thank you. It bears repeating, as you mentioned earlier, that it is from the 8th Parliament that all members of Parliament will have an office within which they can work. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you to join me to receive to the podium the Right Honorable Professor Aaron Michael Quay. And as is done in the custom of Parliament, I'll borrow what the deputy clerks do by saying, Mr. Speaker. So let's receive the Speaker of Parliament.
President of the Republic of Ghana, Your Excellency, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, Chairman and members of the Council of State, Honorable Ministers of State, my good friend, Honorable Hakman Owusu-Agyemang, a member of the Parliamentary Service Board, First Deputy Speaker of Parliament, the Honorable Majority Leader, Sumpahene Osei Mensah Bosu, Doctor, Honorable Minority Leader Alhaji Haruna Idisu, Leadership of the House, Honorable Members of Parliament, the Clerk to Parliament, Mr. Cyril K.O. Nsia, Management and Staff of the Parliamentary Service, Parliament Choir, friends from the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, including the police band who have kept us in good shape this afternoon. I'm exceptionally delighted to be part of today's commissioning of Parliament's House Fiscal Infrastructure Enhancement Project. The completion of this project marks a significant stride in the development of our democracy. Mr. President, as you are well aware, since the inception of the Fourth Republican Parliament until recently, members of Parliament had to contend with lack of office accommodation to conduct parliamentary business. The provision of these offices and auxiliary facilities is certainly imperative to empower the institution of Parliament to adeptly and efficiently discharge its constitutional mandate. Mr. President, the Parliament House Fiscal Infrastructure Enhancement Project, which was executed by the Government of Ghana for Parliament, comprises Job 600 Annex, Chamber Support Services Block, Visitors Waiting Center, and Drivers Waiting Center. The Job 600 Annex is a 6-story building with all the relevant particulars, some of which you have heard about this evening already. The Chamber Service Block is also to give us relevant auxiliary services. The Drivers Waiting Center really intrigues me as a place where our drivers can have a good rest whilst waiting to go on various assignments. It is most important that a driver must be well rested before being sent on assignments. This includes washrooms for them as well as a snack bar. We will also have now a visitors waiting center so that visitors will not just walk in, but they will be processed properly and then allowed accordingly. Mr. President, it is significant to note that this edifice epitomizes the collective efforts of the executive and the legislature. And for that matter, we are particularly happy about the generous allowances that we have made available to Parliament in the execution of its duties. I want to make a little reference, since I love figures. Budget allocation to Parliament of Ghana, 2015 to 2020. In the year 2015, Parliament had 185 million cedis. 2016, 255 million. 2017, 308 million. That was the beginning, say, of your term. 218, 406 million. 219, 360 million. This came down because the project conceptualized as the chamber could not come on. 2020, 400 million. And in fact, projected further for 2021, 440 million. From the allocation, 250 million, 865,717 Ghana cedis in 2016. Parliament has now moved to 400 million, 705,586 Ghana cedis. This is an upper drive due to your tenure of 36%. From your initial efforts to the present stage you have reached, you have continuously upped us up to 36%. We wish you well and trust that in future we will benefit progressively in the same direction. Mr. President, in discharging its enormous but critical functions of accountability and transparency, the institution of Parliament will forever remember the supportive role of President Akufo-Addo for staying committed to ensuring that Parliament remains the citadel of our democracy, even in the face of COVID-19 challenges and other surmounting pressures on government to cut down expenditure. For that matter, we are also appreciative of all the support given to us under COVID-19. On behalf of the leadership of the House and the Parliamentary Service Board, I wish to register our unqualified appreciation to Executive for the consistent support to Parliament. This remarkable feat will go a long way to strengthen development and good governance in Ghana. To the consultants, ADK, to the builders, China State, to my indefatigable Mr. Podo, Director of Development, whom I call at all times and insist various things are done. We are grateful for your hard work and dedication to bring this project to fruition. The Parliamentary Service Board, management, and staff of the service, I say Ayeko and God bless us all. Thank you very much.
As we prepare to receive the President, we'll take a cultural performance. Shall we rise to receive His Excellency, the President of the Republic?
First Deputy Speaker, Majority Leader and Minister for Parliamentary Affairs. First Deputy Speaker, Majority Leader and Minister for Parliamentary Affairs. Minority Leader, Majority and Minority Chief Whips, Members of Parliament, Members of the Parliamentary Service Board, Clerk of Parliament and staff of the Parliamentary Service, members of the Diplomatic Corps, fellow Ghanaians, ladies and gentlemen. It is always good to be back in Parliament as a member. A place where I spent some 12 memorable and enjoyable years as a member, representing a Buakwa constituency on 2 successive occasions, and a Buakwa South constituency on the 3rd. As President, as the Minority Leader pointed out, my visits to Parliament over the last 4 years have been to deliver messages on the state of the nation. I'm here today indeed for the 5th time for another important reason, and that is to inaugurate the Physical Infrastructure Enhancement Project of Parliament. This project, which incorporates the newly constructed Job 600 Annex building, the Chamber Support Services Block, the Drivers Waiting Center, and the Visitors Waiting Center, forms part of measures aimed at addressing comprehensively the gaps in infrastructure faced by Parliament over the years. I applaud the Right Honourable Speaker, the leadership of Parliament, and the Parliamentary Service Board for ensuring that these projects, including the imposing edifice beyond me, which had its sword-cutting ceremony on 22nd April 2018, were completed within schedule. I commend Messrs. ADK Consortium, consultants for the project, and Messrs. China State Hualong Construction Limited, the contractors, for the diligence applied in making sure that the project was completed on time. It is a proud moment for me to be able to state that the entire project has been funded solely from Government of Ghana budgetary sources. Mr. Speaker, if we are to be successful in deepening our democracy, we must have a true separation of powers between the various arms of government. My view of this is well known. Our Parliament, the legislative arm of government, must grow into its proper role as an effective machinery for accountability and oversight of the executive, and not be its junior partner. This requires that we adequately resource Parliament with the requisite infrastructure and logistics to help it function effectively. That is why the government of Nana Akufo-Addo, since its assumption of office on 7th January 2017, has increased cumulatively the budgetary allocation to the House by 56.6%, and has committed itself to supporting the Parliamentary Service Board to initiate and implement various projects necessary for the efficient work of the legislature. Indeed, after the refurbishment in 2015 of the State House Tower Block, popularly referred to as Job 600 building, not all members of Parliament could be accommodated in the building. To remedy the situation for the unlucky MPs, and also to meet other infrastructural needs of the House, government took upon the challenge to provide the requisite finances to support Parliament in undertaking the Fiscal Infrastructure Enhancement project. You can therefore understand my delight at being here today to inaugurate these important office facilities, which will provide MPs and staff of the Parliamentary Service with adequate, well-equipped workspaces to enable them to perform their functions in a conducive environment. Because, Mr. Speaker, lessons learned from the COVID-19 pandemic re-echoed the need to provide spacious working environments for all key institutions, particularly the legislature, to reduce congestion and curtail the possible spread of communicable and infectious diseases. As we all know, the work of Parliament invariably entails daily sittings of the House, in plenary and in committees, as well as engagement with various stakeholders, which effectively occasion close human interaction. It is gratifying to note that at the very early stages of the pandemic, Parliament responded swiftly by adopting a COVID-19 preventive strategy to limit the possible spread of virus amongst its members and staff. This strategy, which involved decongesting the premises, employing the use of virtual platforms to conduct the work of the House, and a significant portion of the staff working from home, enabled the leadership of the House to minimize the spread of the virus, which contributed to its favorable evolution in Ghana. I say a big aiko to all of you. It has always been said that one of our major challenges is our poor maintenance culture, the deterioration of infrastructure, largely as a result of our inability deliberate or otherwise, to maintain them continues to be a serious drain on scarce resources. It is of the utmost necessity that we cultivated a solid culture of maintenance. I therefore urge the Parliamentary Service Board to put in place the requisite mechanism, including the necessary facility management arrangements, to ensure the regular maintenance of these newly constructed buildings, as well as all existing offices. Speaker, in concluding, let me reassure you of the commitment of government to working with you and members of the House for the peace, progress, and prosperity of Mother Ghana. All of us have a joint responsibility to work together with our different views and our different perspectives for the Ghana project. A united Ghana, governed according to the rule of law, respect for individual liberties, human rights, and the principles of democratic accountability. A Ghana that meets fundamental requirements of social justice and solidarity. We should all work to free ourselves from a mindset of dependence, aid, charity, and handouts, and rather concentrate on mobilizing Ghana's own considerable resources to resolve Ghana's problems. It is a collective enterprise to which we should all commit ourselves in unity and in sincerity. For my part, I have an unshakable faith in the boundless prospects of Ghana's future and will work for it, the radiance of the Black Star. Before I sit down, let me assure both the majority and minority leaders, particularly the minority leader, that in my next term, my second, the issue of title and the designation of the parliamentary enclave will be settled. Furthermore, the swearing-in procedures to which the majority leader alluded in his speech will, subject to the relevant considerations of security, fitness, the letter and constitution, and the letter and spirit of the Constitution of the Republic, will be duly considered as soon as possible after 7th December. Accordingly, Mr. Speaker, I have the honor to declare the physical infrastructure project duly inaugurated. May God bless Parliament and us all, and may God bless our homeland Ghana and make her great and strong. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, we have 5 quick things to do, the last which will be your tour of the Job 600 Annex. But before then, you will unveil the plaque right after the national anthem. Right now, though, I want to invite the Honorable Ursula Owusu-Ekufo, Minister for Communications, a Member of Parliament for Ablekuma West, to join us with a vote of thanks.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic, the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, the Honorable Majority Leader, the Honorable Minority Leader, Honorable First Deputy Speaker of Parliament, the Leadership of Parliament, Ministers of State, Honorable Members of Parliament, distinguished members of the Diplomatic Corps, directors and staff of the Parliamentary Service, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored and delighted to offer the vote of thanks at this auspicious event, which marks the inauguration of Parliament's Fiscal Infrastructure Enhancement Project. From working in cramped cars to enjoying well-appointed offices, we can't help but be grateful to all who made it possible. First of all, I'd like to thank the Almighty God for blessing us with His grace and guidance, which has led to the completion of this project. I'd also like to thank you, Your Excellency, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana, for sparing your invaluable time to come over to inaugurate this building and the ancillary facilities. On behalf of the leadership of the House and colleague members of Parliament, I'd also like to express our profound appreciation to you, the leader of this country, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, again, for your unwavering support for and provision of the necessary resources that ensure the completion of this project. Our special thanks must go to Right Honorable Reverend Professor Aaron Michael Okwe, the Speaker, for his commitment, inspiration, and guidance which ensure the completion and inauguration of Job 600 Annex today. We're extremely grateful to you, Right Honorable Speaker. I thank all the ministers of state here present, traditional authorities, revered religious leaders, and other distinguished invited guests for your kind presence today. To the consultants and contractors of the project, we thank you for your commitment and timely completion. And last but not the least, I'd like to thank the clerk and staff of the Parliamentary Service for planning this inaugural session even at such short notice. It is our hope that the speakership and the leadership, as well as the members of Parliament, would continue to enjoy the same level of support from you. I say ayeko to all of you. Our media friends, we're grateful for your coverage of this unique event. I thank all of you once again for gracing this occasion, and I wish you a pleasant tour of the project. Thank you.
Thank you. May I ask us all to rise as we invite the Honorable Muhammad Muntaka Mubarak, Member of Parliament for Sawase, and the Minority Chief Whip to say the Muslim closing prayer for us.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, permit me to stand in the previous protocol. Let's be in prayer mode. Ya Allah, we thank you for today. We thank you for your mercy. We thank you for bringing us together. We thank you for the life of every one of us. We thank you for seeing the end of this project. It is our prayer that this project will serve the purpose for which it was built for. With this, I say, ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم إنك عفو تحب واعف عنا. اللهم إنك عفو تحب كريم واعف عنا. اللهم ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Amen.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in respect of the COVID protocols, His Excellency the President, the Speaker of Parliament, and the leadership up on the days will be the only ones, in addition to all persons who have been issued this accreditation tag, they will be the only persons who tour the Job 600 Annex edifice. Would ask you all to remain. It will be a very brief tour. Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, the leaders, and guests who have been issued the accreditation tag will be the only ones who would tour the Job 600 Annex after His Excellency the President has unveiled the plaque for us. While the tour goes on, we would ask members and guests to please remain under the dais. It will be a very brief tour, during which period the police band will play on the sidelines. The President cuts the tape to formally open the Job 600 Annex edifice, after which he will unveil the plaque. This plaque commemorating the inauguration of the Job 600 Annex block as offices for honorable staff of Parliament was unveiled by His Excellency the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and the Speaker of Parliament, the Right Honorable Professor Aaron Michael Quay, on Tuesday, the 3rd of November, 2020.
The support service. So I don't really know that. But this one is about the same thing. So we go through the support service here. Support service.